Chicago's drill scene has had mad ops, beefing over straight nonsense that turned into real smoke. From the same blocks where you gotta keep it 100 and getting violated could get you smoked, came a beef that showed how personal issues turn deadly when you get too much pride on these streets. Munna and Memo 600, two BD sets that were supposed to be locked in, ended up sliding on each other in some internal war that had bodies getting dropped and names getting ruined. This is the story of why Munna put a hit on Memo 600, brothers turned ops. Munna was a certified O-Block stepper who carried himself like the real deal because he was the real deal. Growing up in Parkway Gardens, Duke learned early that respect wasn't given, it was taken, and weakness wasn't tolerated in a place where surviving to C-18 was an accomplishment. The Black Disciples flag that he claimed wasn't just a gang affiliation, it was his identity, his family, and his ticket to respect in a neighborhood where ops stayed lurking around every corner. Memo 600, representing the 600 set, carried the same energy but from a different block. Even though both crews claimed BD, the politics between different sets created tension that could explode into violence over the smallest perceived disrespect. The 600 and O-Block had history that went back years, with alliances shifting based on who was getting money, who was getting locked up, and who was getting bodied. The drill music scene amplified these street politics, turning local beef into viral content that reached millions of viewers worldwide. Every diss track, every social media post, and every interview became ammunition in a war where reputation meant everything and backing down meant losing respect that could never be recovered. Both Duke and Memo had reps as real steppers who would spin the block when it's time to get busy, making their eventual beef a straight collision between two savages who couldn't rock with each other peacefully. The streets of Chicago been seen this movie before, young drillers from sets that's supposed to be locked in turning into straight ops over drama that looked small to people on the outside but felt like life or death to them living it. Duke's connection with O-Block had him plugged in with some of Chicago's most active members, while Memo's 600 ties gave him his own stripes in these streets. The issue with having a solid name out here is that keeping it means you gotta stay on point and be ready to slide on anyone who try to violate with the same energy or more. During his no-jumper interview, Memo made it clear that even if he was trolling Munna, he had no intention of crawling or kissing the guy's boots.
Certain don't do what I do, like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and ride no and you know it ain't that with them, and we got going on, like, you know, it's certain I ain't gonna say they scared. Yeah, they scared, but I'ma always speak my mind, gang. If we not with y'all.
The foundation for their beef was set way before any got let off, coming from the messy politics of Chicago's gang structure, where staying loyal to your block often meant having smoke with everybody else. Duke and Memo weren't born ops, but the way these streets work made it damn near impossible to keep it peaceful when pride and that survival mode kicked in. Reddit pages that stayed watching Chicago drill culture kept tabs on every move these young savages made, keeping a digital timeline of all the tension building up that would eventually turn into real bodies dropping. A Reddit post ended up showing how personal drama between Duke and Memo switched into deadly beef that nobody could just walk away from. Some of the people who commented on the post said this: "Nah, O-Block Memo up in like late 2020 or 2021. It been friction since then." Another user commented with these lines: "Memo was literally on Clubhouse saying Jado last year, and this is what led to the friction in the first place." Getting how O-Block and 600 really move means knowing that being BD doesn't automatically make you day ones. Territory beef, money problems, and personal issues could flip brothers into straight quicker than people outside these streets could understand. Duke and Memo were on different sides of the same grind, making their collision something that had to happen and left everybody hurt in the end. And here's one factor that everyone suspected fueled the beef: the female factor. Behind every major beef in Chicago's drill scene is the same thing that most steppers won't keep it a buck about publicly: women. Memo 600 ended up spilling the tea in his wild DJU-TV interview that his whole issue with Munna really started over some female drama, saying straight up that everything that pops off in Chicago beef always got a shorty involved. During that heated interview, Memo dropped more real that most drill rappers try to keep on the low. The female that caused all this mess had ties to both the low end and Parkway Gardens, making some love triangle type situation that went way past regular relationship problems and turned into some street fight that couldn't get squashed with words.
Okay, so how about when he banned you from O-Block? Was that a real thing?
I don't know what the First of all, you can't.
Is this the reason why?
No, hell no. I trolled him for that happened with him, then I came with some facts. That Von knocked you out in front of some hoes and Iowa that you was showing out in front of. That was really facts.
Okay, so King Von really did put his hands on
Yeah.
Munna?
In that interview, Memo 600 brought up some females being part of the whole situation with King Von's beef with Munna Duke, where Duke was trying to show out in front of these women, which led to Von smacking him up and snatching his gun. The whole thing went left because Duke thought he could get disrespectful while females were watching. The interviewer also brought up how Memo 600 was dissing Munna Duke over some female, specifically Didi Thong's baby mama, who got ties to Munna Duke too, probably another baby daddy situation.
I ain't give a f about D-Thing if she went to with a nigga that was in a circle. On my kids, gang. Tell me I'm wrong. We right here to be real, right? Or fake. First of all, that the one to
She ain't wrong.
Man, if you don't get so, man.
All right,
I'm out of here.
Okay, go ahead.
That one that did phone them, she wasn't. If it was that, she wouldn't have went on food if she knew food was in a circle with food them. Like, that all weird, gang. On my kids, that all weird, gang. Your kids is the daddy of them other who got a baby by.
This meant that Memo 600's disses about the shorty who was going through it helped escalate the whole beef between them.
But you diss D-Thing, baby mama, other baby daddy. You diss Duke, and that's D-Thing, baby mama, other baby daddy. So you know she hurting, and you
Gang,
and that's making her hurt more.
Listen,
so how much
gang.
respect do you have for D-Thing, man?
Listen,
Your
gang.
ass tweaking.
Listen, gang.
Your ass tweaking.
D-Thing, baby mama was on D-Thing, all type of.
When you have multiple dudes sharing the same BM and one of them starts talking crazy about her in tracks, that's when personal turns into street politics real quick. Memo's admission that females were messing with these dudes and all types of stuff showed the sexual politics that caused most of Chicago's street smoke. The situation had messy relationships where being loyal to some female went against being loyal to the streets, creating impossible situations that young steppers couldn't handle like grown men. The real details about which shorty caused the first problems between Duke and Memo stay low-key in Memo's interview answers, but his focus on real stuff going on behind closed doors and things that ain't supposed to be talked about hints at deeper violations that went past just fighting over the same broad. When Duke and Memo's personal drama over some female became street knowledge, it gave both sides ammo for future beef that would get used every time tension got high between their sets. The streets don't forget embarrassing situations, and neither Duke nor Memo could let their reps get damaged without clapping back. Reddit users following the beef peeped how female issues usually started conflicts that would end up with violence, making personal relationships deadly in Chicago's drill culture. One user also pointed out how dudes treating shorties foul was part of the problem when expressing this opinion in these words. And it's the stuff they don't talk about, the way they treat children, the way they treat women, the example they set for kids. The list is endless. This cycle of mistreating females and personal violations created the perfect setup for the type of disrespect that demands retaliation in street code. Here's how the disrespect played out. Disrespect and retaliation. The switch from personal beef to trying to smoke somebody started with a bunch of calculated disrespect that crossed lines neither Duke nor Memo could let slide. According to Reddit community talks, things got hot when Memo 600 publicly violated Jado, someone connected to O-Block, during a clubhouse session in 2023.
One year ain't out, you just said something about my little brother.
Yo, little brother, I don't get no.
Fuck your brother. You talking about Goofy? That was not even 600. You talking about an OD? It was a GD for my hundreds. Goofy ass.
Yeah, you knew.
I know your ass ain't been on 600 more than 10 years. Your clown.
I don't love steal you lying.
I've been out there more than you.
All right, I'm done, gang. I'm done arguing.
Clubhouse turned into the new spot for Chicago drill rappers to air out their problems, and Memo's choice to use the app for dissing O-Block members was seen as a direct challenge that needed an answer. The public way he disrespected them made it impossible for O-Block to ignore without looking soft, forcing Duke and other members to think about how they were going to get back. Reddit posts also showed that O-Block's response came as a that happened in late 2020 or 2021, with one user saying that O-Block Memo up around that time, and there has been friction ever since. It was a major step up from just talking crazy to actually trying to stretch somebody, crossing a line that would change their relationship forever.
Duke got the blow in that. Somebody got hit him for no. He's from 600. Memo won the. That's getting that. Memo get away. On photo. That's why that's why they be saying Memo be fast on his feet for, because I don't know how, but Memo be getting out of that.
Memo surviving the attempt to smoke him created a new situation where both sides knew the other was ready to catch a body. The failed hit left Memo breathing but shaken, creating anger that would drive his future moves and public statements against Duke and O-Block. By 2023, Duke had stepped up his threats against Memo to include direct confrontations on Clubhouse, showing that the beef stayed active and dangerous. These public threats did multiple things: scaring Memo, keeping Duke's rep as a stepper, and sending a message to anyone thinking about similar disrespect. A May 16, 2025, Reddit post confirmed that the beef stayed active despite what happened to Munna. In that post, Memo violated Munna for claiming to be Muslim but still eating pork, calling out the contradiction in his lifestyle. The internet went crazy over the post. One user commented under the post with these words: "Why do they always cross the line at pork? Dude was literally drinking alcohol when he died, but pork is the only issue." Another person had this to say: "Man, who cares about this? Not even native Muslims live 100% halal. If you're religious, it's a matter between you and your God. In the end, you have to answer to him." Memo, however, has to answer to the entire sub for being a goofy. The cycle of disrespect and getting back had created a situation where neither side could back down without looking weak. Each public exchange raised the stakes and made peaceful solutions less likely, trapping both Duke and Memo in a deadly game where the only ways out were winning or getting stretched. And that was what drove Munna Duke to the point of no return. The point of no return. The moment that proved Duke's fate was when he got May 10th, 2025. Comments started flooding in about Duke's. One person even dug up his last Instagram post and left an RIP message about it on Reddit. But the wildest part of the incident was that after Duke's, Memo disrespected Duke's memory by further dissing him. During Memo's wild DJU TV interview, he even tried to justify his celebration. He revealed that when he got few years ago, Duke was the first one to troll him. He even reposted all that stuff right after learning about the Duke's choice to publicly celebrate Memo's and crossed a line that even ops rarely cross in Chicago's drill culture. The trolling wasn't just disrespectful, it was a public statement that Duke wanted Memo gone and would celebrate any harm that came to him. Memo's emotional response during the DJU TV interview showed how deep Duke's celebration hit him. That was why he immediately hit back with his own trolling, defending his actions by bringing up Duke's previous behavior. Memo's logic was simple. He got Duke trolled him. When Duke got stretched, he trolled him back, asking what's the difference. The interviewer's attempts to explain the moral difference between trolling someone alive versus someone gone fell on deaf ears, as Memo stayed convinced that Duke's prior actions justified any response. Memo's statement about what if he didn't make it and Duke was still going to troll showed his belief that Duke would have celebrated his end with equal energy.
Then he you?
I don't know nothing about
Oh no, I'm confused.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about no that, but
did he pop at you?
I don't know nothing about no
He gone now, we can talk about it, right?
Yeah, I don't know nothing about no but what happened. Allah, God, Jehovah Witness, whatever, they gon' listen, what y'all fail to realize, anytime something happen to me, God always make sure I'm straight. Make sure, I ain't trying to say he makes sure something happen to nigga.
Sure you fast on your feet.
On my kid.
16.
Anytime 16 is 12 shots, that's the Jakes. Well look, anytime something happen to me, God gonna make sure you reap that you sow. I swear to God, man.
When Duke eventually got stretched outside the Edgewater nightclub alongside Youngin, his end closed the chapter on one of Chicago drill's most personal and bitter conflicts. The streets had claimed another young stepper who let pride and hatred consume him, leaving behind only social media posts and interview clips as evidence of a beef that nobody truly won. Memo's final words on the conflict during his DJU TV interview summed up the pointlessness of their beef. He called it a heck business, reminding everyone that their conflict was just another chapter in Chicago's endless cycle of violence.
I'm gonna lie, that's the heck business. From me to you to the real trenches, I can't even go on to say what's really going on, but the words I just said to you, this the heck business.
The streets don't forget, and they don't forgive. Duke learned that lesson the hard way when his obsession with smoking Memo became the obsession that ended his own life. Some beefs never end. They just claim more bodies until nobody remembers what started. in the first place. Memo's still breathing, Duke's in a box, and the cycle continues with new players who think they're different from the ones who came before. If you like this video, click one of the windows on either side to watch a video similar to this one.